Hello everyone, Onlydraven here again, and today we're doing another tutorial in Minecraft Sky Factory 4. Today I'm going to be showing you how to automate Polymer Clay, which is used as part of Deep Mob Learning to run the simulation chamber. When you're leveling up all of your data models from that mod, you're going to go through a lot of Polymer, so this is a way that you can automate that for the leveling up process, or if you wish to make a simulation chamber farm. Now this tutorial is probably going to be a little longer than my normal ones. This is a pretty complicated build, so we're going to kind of do a brief overview of what it looks like, and then I'm going to actually build it so you can see it put together. Find this video helpful and you like it, please be sure to click like. But most importantly, please remember to hit that subscribe button. That way you can see all my videos and tutorials as they come out. All right. So Polymer Clay itself has 4 different ingredients. You need 1 gold ingot, 1 lapis, 1 iron ingot, and 4 clay balls. This will make 16 polymer. So automating all of these components is what we're going to do today. Now, the build that I have is completely self-sustainable, not hooked up to a previous power source. So you could build this in a compact machine, you could build this anywhere. This will run all by itself without connected to anything. So we're gonna build one over there, but first I'm gonna kind of just give you a brief overview. So we have a crop. We got plots here, if you will. On one side I'm growing iron seeds, one side I'm growing gold seeds, with several different sprinklers in between, and we're using a harvester to harvest those essence. Now you're probably going to want to make your farm much larger than this. This is just an example, so this is just small. But half iron, half gold is what you're looking for. Now, whenever you're harvesting any essences from any mystical agriculture, there's the chance that you're going to pull out fertilized essence. You have to account for that. Basically, the way I've got this set is on this side, the extraction cable takes out just gold essence into this auto crafter, which makes gold ingots. And on this side, it takes the iron essence, puts it into this iron crafter to make iron essence. And then this one here is whitelisted for fertilized essence only, so that goes into a trash void. I don't need those. If you want them, you can save them, run them into your system, but they're kind of a waste if you're automating it. Now, all of this is powered by an upgradable combustion generator with 4 full stacks of speed modifiers. I do recommend doing all 4 stacks. It's a little resource intensive, but it will definitely provide all the power you need for this build. Now, that is being powered by wood, which is being created by a lapis sapling and a clay sapling. And those 2 components are how we're getting our lapis and our clay for this automation. So in each of these chests, I have wood being whitelisted into the upgradable. Side obviously the same. So all the wood is going into the upgradable. And then on the back side, I've blacklisted wood. So all of the other components that a sapling makes, such as leaves, other saplings, sticks, resin, acorn, those all go into this chest. And that's the same place that both of these auto crafters, the one on the other side and this side, that are making our iron and gold, go into it as well. So all of our components feed into this chest here. Now we have a simple storage network set above this. This is how we're going to automate things. We're using an import cable running into that. That's what's pulling in all of those items, and they're being stored in several filing cabinets with a file for each item. You do want to have a file for each item. A lot of people like to just void out the things that they don't need, but doing so can cause a lot of lag. It is better to have a file for every item that you're using in here. I have one for the gold, I have one for the iron ingots, and I have one for all the components both saplings make. Now, that's connected, as you can see, with a couple of storage link cables. Storage link cable connecting there, and some storage cables. We have a second storage request table up top. You can put as many of these on the network anywhere you'd like, and this allows you not only access, but it also gives you the ability to add more crafting or more links to that. Okay, so we have 5 auto crafters. We've got 1 here, 1 there, that's 2, and then 3 up here at the top. Now, all 5 of these are powered by that same upgradable combustion generator. So you can see the energy is coming out the back, feeding to all of those. That will power this entire build. Okay? Now, the thing to remember when adding any type of automation with a simple storage, you're going to use a processing cable, but on each of these crafter setups, that's the last thing you're going to add. You have to set up your auto crafter first. You want to put an auto crafter down, make sure it has power, and put a lever on it, and make sure it's off when you're first starting it. You're going to go into that auto crafter, and you're going to change it to requires redstone, so it's not going to start until you flip your switch outside. On this side here, I'm making the lapis. So I'm putting in the recipe, which is 9 iron acorn, which makes a lapis block. Now, lapis blocks aren't what I need for this recipe. I need single lapis. So above that, I'm doing a lapis block being broken into regular lapis, setting it up the exact same way. Now, once you've set up your recipe here, that's when you add your processing cable. You can't even connect it until that's done. And when you add that in here, you're going to put over here the recipe. So if it takes 5 resin, 4 acorns, you put a stack of 5, a stack of 4. On the right-hand side, you put what that recipe makes. So 9 of these makes 1 of these. On the one above it, I have 1 of these makes 9 lapis. So you have to have a stack of 9. Doesn't matter which side you put it in on the left or right, as long as it's in there somewhere. You don't have to hit any of the other buttons. So on this one, because there's just 1 item in the recipe, once you flip that switch, it's just going to start pulling all the acorn out of your filing cabinets through and turning it into lapis blocks. So you'll need a filing cabinet for lapis blocks and a filing cabinet for lapis. On this side, we're doing the same thing, but now we're doing the clay, and a linking there. So here on the clay side, we're doing the recipe for autocraft, or for clay blocks, which is 5 resin and 4 acorns. After we have that on, same as before, turn that to requires redstone, put a lever on, make sure it's in the off position. You go to your processing cable, and we're going to put 5, 4, and that makes a clay block. So just like I said before, you don't hit any of the buttons. Now for this one, or any recipe that has more than 1 item, once you start it, it's only going to show the resin here. You're going to have to add 4 acorn manually 1 time. Once you do that, that will kickstart the system, and it will continue making it all by itself from that point. So anytime you have a recipe that has more than 1 item, you have to manually add all the items that aren't already in there 1 time, and it'll start going automatically. Now above that, we're doing the same thing as we did before. Now we're breaking the clay blocks into the clay balls. So we set that up the same way, lever on the front, turn required redstone only, and then the processing cable's added afterwards. 1 clay block makes 4 clay. Again, you need to have a file in your filing cabinet for clay and for clay balls. Lastly, we have our autocrafter, which is going to make our actual polymer. Same situation. Put an autocrafter down, turn it to redstone only, put in the recipe, have a lever on the front, have it switch to off. You're going to add again your processing cable, 4 clay, 1 gold, 1 iron, and 1 lapis. And that makes 16 polymer. It's important. You have to have 16 here. Whatever 1 recipe makes, you have to have the actual output in order for this to work correctly. Once you have those in there, flip your switch. And again, it's only going to have like the iron. And then you have to put a gold, a lapis, and 4 clay. Or whichever one it gives, you have to put the rest in just that first time. And then it's going to automate the polymer for you. After that's all said and done, on the very back here, we have an export cable. And again, I should mention you are going to have a file for polymer as well. But you're going to have an export cable. The export cable is what's going to pull the polymer out of your simple storage into a chest. So that's the basic design of the setup, right? That's kind of how it looks. And you can put that inside a compact machine, which I've done. I'm going to go ahead and load in there real quick just to show you what it looks like. So here's what it looks like inside a compact machine. All right, so here we are inside the compact machine. So it looks a little bit different. I built it on, when I built 2 layers, but the process is still exactly the same. You can see I have a larger crop field in here, which is definitely going to increase the output and speed up the system. But I still have half gold, half iron. Got my 2 auto crafters doing the exact same thing with a harvester. Power sources are still the same. Clay and lapis going into my upgradable, 4 upgrade stacks in them. All that feeds upstairs into that common chest, which feeds inside of my simple storage system. I have the same 5 auto crafters. Instead of putting 1 in front at top, I have 1 in the back, but it works the exact same way. My cabinets, and then my export cable runs into here, where I have plenty of lapis. And then the only difference you'll see here is I have a tunnel at the top, which takes the lapis out. Then an extraction cable pulling it out of this chest. And so it will feed out of here into any type of system I have that needs polymer, which is really just your simulation chamber. But as you can see, you can fit it in a compact machine. There's still quite a bit of space in here to work with if you need to. I like it because it's very, very compact, literally. And it's also very, very even. Everything's on one side is the same as the other side. It just looks very, very nice. It's a clean build. All right, let's head back out and see how to put this together. All right, and now we're back. So that's what it fits in a compact machine. I like compact machines because it cuts down on the amount of lag in your world. Because as I mentioned before, the visual effects of any item is something your game has to load each time. The sprinkler's making the water, the flowers growing and shrinking. The more things move, the more your game has to actually process those movements. Putting as many movement-based items inside a compact machine will help you out a lot. So on this side over here, we're going to build what we built over there. Now, I've already got the basics down. We've got some iron crops, gold crops, sprinklers with water. I've set down the harvester, and the harvester needs to be set to area, and have it set to required redstone when you first start. That means it won't start harvesting until you're ready. We have our upgradable combustion. I went ahead and put the 4 stacks of speed modifiers in there. And then we have our 3 chests. This over here is just for the build. This is not part of the actual components. So we're going to go ahead and set this up. We'll grab a couple of things first. Cables. Those. Grab these. And then we're going to need our auto crafters. Okay. So we need to connect our auto crafter to our power source. That's this one right here. That, crank it all the way to the top. Power's going out. We're also going to need one on the back because that's what's going to power everything else we do. Go ahead and get that on there as well. Now, for the chests here, these are where our saplings are going to go. So we're going to need an extraction cable here, turn it all the way up, and put it to whitelist. On this side on the back, do the same thing, but leave it blacklist. This side, we're going to do the exact same thing. The one on the side, crank it up, turn it to whitelist. The one on the back, turn it all the way up, leave it on blacklist. Okay. Now we're going to add our auto crafters here, and I'm going to put one here. Now, these are going to be getting items from our harvesters. Again, item extraction cable, turn it all the way up, whitelist. This side, turn it all the way up, and whitelist. And then one on top, all the way up, and whitelist. So pretty easy in the front there. We'll just finish this out with a couple of regular cables. And we need to provide them power. There we go. The first half is pretty much set. Now, the last thing we have to do in here is actually create our recipe. So what we're going to need is some gold essence, and we're going to need some iron essence. Now, you can just manually harvest a couple of these if you want to get some. That real quick. I got one manual harvest of iron. A good reason to get the plants going first, so you can grab the essence as you need it. And as you can see, I got gold, I got iron, and I got that pink essence we were talking about a moment ago. So, this is the side where my iron crops are, so I'm going to keep iron over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish the recipe. You're not going to see any power here yet because I don't have the power running. That's our recipe for iron. Iron essence all the way around. And then here, where we've put it to whitelist, we want to put iron essence. That's the only thing that'll come into that auto crafter. On this side, we're going to do the same thing with gold. We're going to make sure that whitelist gold on this side, so gold is the only thing coming through. And on the top here, that's where we're going to whitelist our pink essence, so it just goes into a trash can. We've got those things out of the way. Let's go ahead and grab our trash can and put that up there. There we go. So the entire front half is about ready now. We just have to move into our sapling. Now, it's okay to go ahead and put your hopping bonsai and your mulch in at this point. I would wait just a bit before you actually start making, like putting the sapling in there. Okay? Give it a little bit of time. Let's move on to some other parts. So that way you don't have things building up, which could clog your system. Those are set, ready to go. Now we can go ahead and take wood, which is the thing that we're going to be whitelisting and blacklisting. And on this side, going into the upgradable, we already have that set to whitelist, so we put wood. On this side, we're going to blacklist wood because we don't want that going into our system. Wood only goes to the combustion generator. This side, again, it's whitelisted wood. This side is blacklisted wood. So now those are set up once we get our saplings inside. Those are pretty good. Now we just need to go ahead and connect these. And we also need to connect these. So we're going to put an item craft over here. Crank that up. We don't have to set anything in blacklist and whitelist because there's only one thing that's going to be coming out of there automatically. We don't have to worry about that. Same thing on this side. All the way up. All right. So once we drop our saplings in there, everything that this front half is making will now be going into this chest here. So we're in pretty good shape. Now we're ready to move on with our different simple storage. Grab the simple storage. We're going to need our import cable. All right. So I like to carry a block of wood or a stock of wood because wood is my placeholder. That there, that there. Break the wood. Now that I've got that done, I can go ahead and I can put in my import cable. And my import cable, I want to make this priority 5. Into 5. Okay? Actually, take it back. Put that one 10, I'm sorry. This one should be 10 because this, we don't want anything to come into this chest. This is the lowest, least important chest we have. Everything goes into something else. Now we're also going to need a pack of wood. Currently, we're going to need some storage link cables, and we're going to need some storage cables. So on top of that, we're going to add a storage link cable. Then we're going to put actual cable, as you can see, just like we did over there. Then we're going to put some cables going back by 2, just like we did on the other side. All right? And that's where we're going to be putting our filing cabinets. That there. Again, the wood is just a spacer to get this started. Okay? So now we're going to come in here. We're going to grab our filing cabinets. Set these here. Break those. And now we can put our storage link cables on the bottom. These ones we can leave as priority 0. They're the most important. Everything should be going into that first. Now we're going to take our last storage request table, set that right on top because we need that for our other auto crafters. So that process is pretty much set up there. Go ahead and put back all of those things. So now we need to put up our auto crafters. Grab our auto crafters again. We've already got our wood, so we're good there. So the wood again is taking the place of where the processing cable would be until we're ready to put those on. Auto crafter, auto crafter, auto crafter. We're down here, and we're going to do the same thing on the sides of this one. Now all of our auto crafters are in place. Now let's set up the auto crafter before we even worry about power. So now we're going to need our stack of levers, and let's set them all up. So we'll start on the top here. Okay. Lever on the front, go inside, turn it to requires redstone. Lever on the front, go inside, turn it to requires redstone. Same thing on each of these. Remember, make sure you leave that up. It has to be off until we're ready to start the process. Requires redstone. Requires redstone. So doing all those at once is a great way of making sure that you get them all. So those are pretty set. But we're going to need some power. Go and grab our energy cable. This here. All the way to the top. Connect it underneath. Whoop. Around. Like that. Bottom ones, same kind of thing. We're just going to bring it over from the side. Bring it underneath. Power. Oh. Tripping over all my pipes here. Go. Here. There we go. All right, so now all 4 of those will have powers once we start our reactor here, or our generator. All right, so that is the vast majority of everything except for our export cable. Chest on the back. Let's add those. My chest at there we go. Chest. And the export cables are the blue ones. I may not have put in here. Storage import that. Import. I did not. We'll grab some. export cable to the green one. Oh, they may have it in there after all. So again, just like before, got your wood in here. I always want to add the cable last. That, add our chest, break that, then add our export cable. Export cable, we're going to put at 5 because it's not as important as our filing cabinets, but it's more important than this. The higher the number, the lower the priority. Odd way for it to be, but that's how it's set up. Now, in each one of the import and the export cable, you can add speed upgrades and stack upgrades. And I recommend doing so in order for it to stay from getting clogged. I put in 1 stack and 3 speed. Stack means it'll pull 64 at a time instead of 1, and these makes it go 3 times faster. You can do that on the export as well. Again, I recommend doing that. 3 speed and a stack. Now, the blue ones that we're using, those don't take upgrades. They're pretty much instant for what they do. All right. So the physical build, except for our processing cables, is pretty much done. So before we set that up, we need all the components we're going to use, and we need to get our filing cabinets set. So to do that, we need to start getting our processes. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our saplings. There's our lapis one. There's our clay one. Now, I like to set up lapis on above this same one. So whenever you pick a side, I'm putting lapis sapling here. I'm going to make sure I do my lapis automations above it. Over here, I'm going to put clay. There we are. Goes away. So at this point, these saplings are running. All the wood is moving into here. Right? It's going to run in there automatically. Any wood that processes. Go in here. Go ahead and turn this on. That is filling up with power. Now the wood, of course, it'll take a little bit for the wood to start to build up. So the power will be a little slow at first. But the most important part is running right now. And that is the front half. So now it's making us our parts. We've already got the front done. So now when we go in here and we look, we're going to see all these things piling up in here. Right? Look over here. These don't have power yet because it's still building up power. So you can, if you want, manually load some wood in there. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to get it going a little bit faster at the beginning, just to start getting your parts. These, just to speed it up a little, and you'll see how fast the upgradables go in just a moment. If I throw those in there, you can see it's burning very quickly. But now we've got that sapling up and going. We're going to get our clay up and going again. Now that we've got these going, all of the wood going into here, and it's powering all of our machines. Go over here and we look in this chest from the bottom. You can see now we're getting everything from all the saplings, including our iron and gold. All of this stuff is coming through. So we need to make a folder for everything in here and put it in our filing cabinet. Okay? Throw those up in there. Wood we don't. It's not there. But we'll go ahead and grab sticks, acorn, acorn, resin, resin, leaf, leaf, sapling, sapling. Okay, that's all the items from our sapling itself. We're also going to need iron and gold. These items all need a folder. That up. All right, folder for each. Each cabinet holds 8. So we'll just start filling up from one. Here, grab our other 3. There will be more. All right, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. All right. So now that we've got our front half loading into this chest, right? We have our filing cabinets up there. Now we have to get the stuff actually coming out. This is the part that sometimes is a little picky. So to get the storage import cable to actually start working, you have to go in there, turn it to whitelist, move these things, click the eye again, move these things, side. Now it's finally going. It's kind of a picky little cable, but you kind of have to do that to get it to start actually loading in. So, but it will start loading in at that point. As you can see, the stuff is disappearing. We look in our simple storage, the numbers on these items are going to be increasing as stuff goes inside. So that first part is done. Everything we've made so far is going into our filing cabinet. So now we need to look at the other components we're going to make today. So we're going to need, go ahead and grab some. We're going to need, of course, some lapis. Recommend having a stack of that already. You may want to already have a stack of lapis blocks, but you'll want at least a few of them. You're also going to need clay blocks, clay balls, right? And then you're also going to need polymer. You'll need to at least make one stack ahead of time. You need to have this stuff ready because you're going to need to make a file for each one. Because all of these items are going to go in there as well. Go ahead and file for each one. I'm only doing one in each file this time because I'm going to need the other ones to build my recipes in the auto crafters. All right. There's our 5 for that. And off the top of my head, I believe that's everything that we're going to need. That's going to need a filing cabinet or go in the filing cabinet, but we'll check it again in a minute. Pull, throw that last one in there. All right. Now we have a file for everything. Now we need to set up our auto crafters. That's kind of the last part of the puzzle. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to go in and we're going to grab our processing cables, which are there. And of course, our recipe items. These aren't going to be all the recipe items, but the rest we can grab out of our simple storage. We've already made those. So as I said, I like to keep all stuff consistent. So we got lapis sapling here. So these two are going to be my lapis. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need some lapis acorns. Go inside this auto crafter and put in the recipe for lapis acorns. 9. That's it. Now I'm going to connect a processing cable. Here I'm going to do 9 again. Have to click on any one of those with 9. It doesn't actually take them. It just imprints in there. Then on the other side, what that makes 1 lapis block. Don't have to hit any other buttons. Now I go over here, flip my switch. As you can see, the acorns are already being made into lapis blocks very, very quickly. Done with my acorns. Now we're going to go up to the one above it. This is going to turn our lapis blocks into actual individual lapis. Again, the recipe for this one's pretty easy. 1 lapis block. Now we're going to set our processing cable on here. Go inside. Again, we're going to click with 1 lapis on this side. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oop, 1 extra. And then because 1 block turns into 9 regular lapis lazuli, you need to have a stack of 9 in there. No buttons need to be pressed. Over here, flip the switch. As you can see, it's already working. Now, both of these recipes only had 1 type of component in them, so we didn't have to kickstart anything. It's going to be a little different over here. Now we're going to go down and we're going to do our clay. For clay, which I'm done with my lapis at this point, throw those in there. Well, I'm almost done. We're going to go ahead and we're going to need a stack of clay resin and a stack of clay acorns. Again, click on here. If you don't remember the actual recipe, you can actually look it up. You can go clay, find the recipe you want, hit plus. That'll auto-load it in there for you. But it's 5 resin and 4 acorn. That's ready to go. Now we're going to go ahead and take our processing cable. And again, we're going to do the exact same thing. That was 4 acorn and 5 resin. Which order you set them up here or in which block. That is going to make 1 clay block. That's our recipe. Over here and flip the switch. Now, as I mentioned before, it only pulls in 1 item. So if it has more than 1 component in the recipe, you have to manually add the rest 1 time. So I have 4 acorns. As soon as I drop this, watch the right-hand side. It started automating it right there. I only had to put it in 1 time, and that is now fully automated. So above that, this one, of course, is the one that we're going to be turning our clay block into clay balls. So clay blocks in there. Got our processing cable. Go in there. So that's, again, 1 clay block. That turns into 1, 2, 3, 4 clay balls. Again, it's important to make sure that whatever this turns into, the amount has to be over here. This makes 4, so this has to be 4, or the processing cable won't figure out how to take it out. And it says here on the left, active and transaction valid when you have something that actually will compute that way. Flip that one. Again, there was only 1 component, the block, so it's automatically making the clay. Super easy. So now, we're going to go back in here to our simple storage, or we've already got. Throw the blocks back in here because I don't need those. I don't need the acorn or the resin. I am going to need polymer. I'm going to need my clay. I'm going to need my lapis. And I'm going to need my gold and my iron. These are 4 components that make polymer. And that's what we're going to set up right here, top one here. So we go inside, again, if you don't press me, polymer, plus. So that's our recipe, a gold, a lapis, an iron, 4 clay, and that makes 16 lapis. Got our recipe in there, our processing cable on. So again, that was going to be 1 lapis, 1 iron, 1 gold, 4 clay. So we're going to imprint those on this side. That makes 16 polymer. So I have to put a stack of 16 over there. Now we go over here, we flip our switch. Of course, it only put in 1 component. We've got to put in the rest. There's our lapis, there's our iron, and now watch when I put gold in, watch the right. Automatically started making polymer. It just started spitting out polymer as quickly as it could with the ingredients that it had. Now, because I have a very small crop field over here, it is going to kind of be a little bit slower over here because it's making gold and iron a little slower than it is the clay and the lapis. But again, if you have a larger field, that issue will be resolved, as you saw inside the compact machine. So now we've completely automated polymer. Everything we need is building up inside. Now we just need to be able to get it back out again. If you remember, we put an export cable and a chest, but nothing's going into it yet. This is the final step. Take some polymer out, go to this, get in there, like that. There's our polymer. You can have that feeding wirelessly into another system or into a machine. You could automatically feed it into a simulation chamber or multiple if you'd like. But this is how you're going to basically pull it out automatically, because this simple storage is a standalone and will not connect to whatever storage system you're using, at least standardly. If you wanted to, you could use this and then run it into another storage system, whichever storage system you like. This will basically automate polymer. It'll make it at a pretty quick rate. As you can see, it didn't take too long to put together. The biggest sticking points are those processing cables. It is imperative that you completely set up your auto crafter before you start putting on your processing cable. You have to make sure that on the right is the exact amount that the recipe is going to make. I've made that mistake before. When I was setting up this one, I only put 1 polymer in. Nothing happened because it has to make 16, so it has to pull 16 out. But that said, we now have a completely, fully automated polymer clay system. As you saw, it can be here, inside a compact machine, anywhere you'd like. But it is completely self-sufficient. I have it running off its own power system. If you wanted to, you could power it through other means. You don't have to use that. I like to build all of my automations completely self-sufficient. So if I put it in a compact machine, I can pick up that machine, take it to, say, Twilight's, or take it to Lost Cities, and it's still going to work. I don't have to reconnect it to power and everything. Everything is self-sufficient in pretty much all of my my recipes. So that's going to do it for this one. It was a little bit longer than normal, I know, and I apologize for the length. But there was a lot of different components and parts in this, and I wanted to make sure I covered them thoroughly. Now, again, if you liked this video and it helped you, please be sure to click like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But if you have any questions about this tutorial or any of my tutorials, please be sure to put that down in the comments, and I'll do my very best to get back with you as soon as I can, as well as any recommendations or suggestions you may have for other tutorials you'd like to see in Sky Factory 4. I'm always looking for new ideas. You can also go to my website, OnlydravenGaming, and there at the very top of the homepage, or at the bottom of the homepage, you'll see a link where you could submit questions or feedback or recommendations via email. While you're there, you'll also find my streaming schedule, links to all my tutorials and videos, some of my social media accounts, find links to the Discord channel, and a whole bunch of other resources, including the ODG store, where you can get some cool OnlydravenGaming merchandise. So there's a lot of great resources on the website. I highly recommend checking it out. All right. Well, that is going to do us for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.